With us, Joy News Prime. Time now for the sport. I'm Gary L. Smith. And days after it happened on Tuesday, but George Afriyie's dismissal as the vice president of the Ghana Football Association is still trending. More reactions coming in, this time from Leporua MND Jaula, former boss of the GFA, who has backed the decision of the executive committee.
It is not the best news, but some of these things are official, but they also hinge on personalities. Definitely, George Afriyie and his boss, Kwesi Nyatechi, were very good friends, and they started very well. He personally appointed him according to the statutes. But later on, he was beginning to get evidence of disloyalty. And once loyalty becomes a problem, then it's big. It started, I think, when George Afriyie sent him a text by WhatsApp to say some unprintable things to him directly. Much as George tried later on to recover his words and to apologize, it appears the apology has not gone deep enough, and that has led to all this. That is part of the what I refer to as the loyalty syndrome. Yeah, if I'm in office and I'm a senior man and I've not declared my intention totally to you, perhaps I've said something in the media, you don't rush into it and say, I'm gone. So now you have a party, a birthday party, and announce that you are interested to go. It is not the very best. I know personally on one occasion, I told George personally, that you have to wait for the president himself to say, now I'm going. You might have heard it in the media, but that is not sufficient. There are many reasons why somebody may say this in the media, but for which he's still thinking about. So when you rush like that, it means you wish me out of the seat.
Still in football, and this weekend we'll see Asante Kotoko host Heart of Folk in the latest installment of the Super Clash. It will be in Kumasi. And after the last time Heart of Folk played also in Kumasi, they had some trouble with their fans who were not happy that they drew in their game against Bechem United. A couple of administrators were beaten and one was nearly lynched, according to the reports we had. And in response, and ahead of this game this weekend, Frank Nelson is advising Heart supporters to desist from being violent.
Well, for us, I mean, it's an unfortunate situation. I always say that football does not come with violence. Unfortunately, you see situations where people try to take laws into their hands. I've always said and come against it because you don't never know what you do. Your reaction can take somebody's life. So I always ask people, look, no matter how bitter you are, be able to control yourself. My supporters behaved the way they behaved, and I felt very bad because I think we have crossed this situation that is not a situation where we go to stadiums. People are scared of getting to that situation, or people are scared of assuming positions because the supporters might attack them. That is something we should frown on, and I frown on it. I will advise our supporters to have channels of which to address your issues. You can write to the management, you can make personal appearance. We have CEOs of the club, CEO of the club, we have other administrators who can channel your issues. So that is how I see, but I don't think that violence is something I encourage. We are going to Kumasi on Sunday, and we all know what Asante Kotoko and Kumasi, Accra. So for us, it's a game nobody can predict, but we all go in with the might, knowing one, we have our strengths in Kumasi. Secondly, we know that we are playing with our bitter rivals and then a big competitor. So we are going to prepare ourselves, make sure that we pick the 3 points. It's not been fair for us. I mean, we lose one match and win the next match and then lose the next match. But it's always good for us to make amends when it comes with Asante Kotoko, and that will give our supporters the laugh they want to laugh.
Let's see the Week 10 Premier League fixtures already. Today, Aduana Stars and Brecum Chelsea played 1-1. Bechem United will be playing Karela, Elmina Sharks, 11 Wonders. Inter Allies, Ebusuan Alps, Liberty, Wild Stars, Mediama, Ashgold, Wafat Dreams FC. All will be playing tomorrow, and then there will be one game only in the league. That will be the Super Clash. We have loads of build-up material on myjoyonline.com involving Heart and Kotoko, the tactics where we think the game will be won and lost, and so on and so forth. In English Premier League, Jose Mourinho is paying tribute to Arsene Wenger ahead of their last encounter at Old Trafford. Wenger, as you know, announced to the world that at the end of this season, he'll be leaving the Gunners.
Arsene Wenger hasn't always enjoyed his trips to Old Trafford. He's not always enjoyed coming up against Jose Mourinho either. But ahead of Wenger's final trip to face Manchester United with Arsenal, his old foe only has respect.
I think he's his legacy, his memories, his influence will be always in the Premier League. Everybody knows that we had our fights, but I always say that you only have fights with people with the same ambitions that you have, with the same level of responsibility, and we had fights because of that. I wanted to win with Chelsea, wanted to win with Arsenal, and that's life. But when it goes to an end, in the end, I have lots of respect for the manager, for the person.
There was a period when Mourinho was in charge of Chelsea when the statements had a very different tone. He once branded Wenger a specialist in failure. And even with the change in his words, the United players believe their boss will feel his departure.
I think he will miss him, you know. We always, it's funny to say, we always like to see the managers fighting a bit for the game. It makes a bit spicy. And now, but yeah, I think the Premier League will miss him. Yeah.
Paul Pogba was born just 3 years before Wenger arrived at Arsenal, and he admits growing up in France that everyone dreamed of following in the footsteps of the likes of Thierry Henry.
He's the manager that I think all the French players, when you start playing football, at the time, you know, when Pires, Henry, all the French players, they were there. He wanted to play for Arsenal, to be honest, and he was like, oh, this is the French, it's like the French national team. So obviously we respect him a lot.
In England, a major issue that's dominating the talks is the fact that Wembley Stadium may be having a new owner. As you know, Wembley is the national stadium of that country, and it was built with a lot of money many years ago, about 10 years ago. Now, even though it served as a home for Tottenham Hotspur and increasingly been used in more and more FA Cup matches, the widespread opinion is that it was a waste of money. So, when businessman Shahid Khan brought up a proposal to buy it, it's been taken quickly.
Jacksonville Jaguars owner Shahid Khan and his magnificent moustache have been speaking about his bid to buy Wembley. He says there's a possibility of an NFL franchise being based in London. Khan believes the move would be positive for the NFL and for the Jaguars.
I think it's good for NFL. We want to host as many NFL games there, but the Jaguars, we want to play there. I think it's part of our identity, and it's been part of our winning.
Do you think there'll be a, excuse me, an NFL franchise in London by 2022?
You know, it's like asking, where's the stock market going to be? You know, I have no idea. I think what we have to do is how it impacts us, really, as a franchise. And we want to take the unique aspects of Jacksonville, supplement them where we're a successful franchise. And, you know, we're investing everything we talked about, you know, state of the franchise. We want to try to do, and we are doing. Only thing that's preventing us is things we can't do. You know, obviously environmental and what have you, but we're going to be, you know, supporting the city any way we can. We will need approval from the league where we play.
The matches that are already there, friendlies or league fixtures?
No, I mean, I don't see that. I think, you know, I hope they do, but certainly that isn't the plan.
And our final story, as you know, the 2026 World Cup has been a matter of intense global discussion over the last few months, not least because the rights will be awarded by FIFA in a few months. That's in June. So who would get it? As you know, Canada, the United States and Mexico are fielding one joint bid. The other one is coming from the African country, Morocco. Yesterday, for the first time, Donald Trump waded into the discussion. In the wee hours of the morning, Ghana time, he threatened anybody who would want to stand in the way of the North American bid on Twitter.
Now, U.S. President Donald Trump says that the U.S. has put together a strong bid with Canada and Mexico to host the 2026 World Cup. It's facing opposition from Morocco, which has received significant support in recent weeks. Trump tweeted, "The U.S. has put together a strong bid with Canada and Mexico for the 2026 World Cup. It would be a shame if countries that we always support were to lobby against the U.S. bid." Now, the vote to award the 2026 World Cup host will take place on June 13th in Moscow at FIFA's annual Congress. And in response to that tweet, FIFA says it cannot comment on specific statements to do with the bidding process, but says it can only refer to FIFA's regulations for World Cup venue selection and to the rules of conduct when talking about bids.
And that's it for the sport.